And what's up, guys? How we doing today? I am back with another video, weigh-in and all that great stuff. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the short-term and long-term complications that can possibly happen with the surgery. Now I'm getting my numbers here from a website called www.obesitycoverage.com. And they had a few statistics that I thought were really cool that some people might want to hear. Some people might not, because they're not all the greatest statistics in the world, but they will also make some people feel a lot better about the whole thing. So some of the short-term complications that can possibly happen, leak, and about 2% of the patients get this, and that is when the staples have an issue where something will actually leak out from the staple. So maybe a stretch or a pull and the staple got moved or whatever, and there is a bit of a leak. Again, less than 2% of people have this, and it's not really a common complication, obviously. Now, unfortunately, this is on here, death, which is actually 0.08%. So less than 1% of people out of 1,000. Now, that's also got to do with the fact that obese people in general have a higher mortality rate in surgery as well. So that's really nothing that anybody needs to worry about. Blood clots, unfortunately, are another 1% that people get, and that can happen, of course, with any surgery. So that is a really low number.
Best way to prevent that is make sure you get up and move right after.
Yes, and a lot of problems with that are because people lay in bed after the surgery because they're not feeling well. And the best way to prevent that, from what I understand, is to actually get up and move around and walk around. Not necessarily straining yourself or bending or hurting that area on purpose, but just to kind of get and move, and it'll keep everything going the way it was. Stricture is also an issue about 3% of people, and that is when the opening to the stomach becomes inflamed and swells to a point where nothing can pass through. Again, very low percentage out of 1,000 people, about 3%, again, according to this website. Now, here's the biggest one that I found for short-term complications at about 12% is wound site infection. So basically, the place where you had the physical cuts from the surgery, and that can happen for many, many reasons. Not washing properly, which unfortunately is the biggest part of it. Not taking care of it properly, bacteria getting in there, of course. These things are all preventable, and unfortunately it does happen in about 14% of people, again, according to the website. Now, some of the long-term complications from the surgery are nutritional deficiency, which about 10% of people have. And that, of course, is from not eating the proper foods afterwards that have the nutrition that they need in it, maybe not taking their multivitamins. So it is preventable, but unfortunately so many people do have it. Gallstones is a possible long-term side effect in about 23% of people. GERD, which is severe heartburn, from what I understand, and thankfully I haven't had that much problems with heartburn yet, in about 45% of the people who get the surgery. So this is one of the major things that will affect people long-term, for the most part anyway. And a hernia is possible. I haven't actually heard that one before, but again, I saw it on the website here, in about 12% of people. I'm not 100% sure how the hernias happen, but it does happen apparently. So those are some of the side effects, the short term and the long term. Thankfully, I haven't had any real issues with any of those. I had a bit of redness and soreness in one of my incisions, but that was just because it hadn't quite healed enough, and when the staples came out, it was a little more open than it should have been, but that healed just fine with no issues once we put some antibacterial stuff on it and everything else. So I luckily haven't had any of these issues. But fortunately, I did have some questions today. So, Sweet Pea, what do we got on?
If you had the choice, would you still do it all over again?
If I had the choice, would I do it all over again? Let's see. Yes, I believe I would. And the biggest reason is not because of the weight loss. It is because how I feel now. I feel 10 times better than I have in years. The weight coming off is obviously a great thing and the reason that I do feel good, but not the whole reason for the surgery. One of the other biggest things that this has given me is like a way to live my life a little bit better. So I mean, there is no way that I would not ever get this done for like negatively ever again.
You never would have been able to do yesterday.
Exactly. We went for a huge walk yesterday down on the pier here in Halifax. We walked from one end of the pier all the way to the other and back, and that took us.
Work too,
Oh yes, I also walked from work to my from one job to my other job, and then from that job down to the waterfront. So it was hours worth of walking that we did that I probably would have been able to do 10 minutes worth a year ago. So it is absolutely incredible what this has done for me and how much it's helped and changed my life. What's the second question?
What's your favorite part of having the surgery besides the obvious weight loss?
Okay, well, I think I've just mentioned a few of those things. One of the other major things is I'm no longer on my pills. I was on pills for the diabetes, which has completely reversed itself.
Injections?
I was on injections for it also, which since it's reversed itself, I no longer need to take. I was on pills for heart problems, which have fixed themselves. I was on pills for high blood pressure and water retention and goddamn 3 other pills. And now all I'm taking is my multivitamin and a skin collagen type thing to help with the stretching and marks and such. But nothing that nothing compared to what I used to have to take or do as far as medication was concerned. And I think that is my favorite part, besides what I just mentioned in the last question of this entire thing. One more question, all right?
Do people treat you differently now?
Do people treat me differently? I think I've had a lot more people come up to me and talk to me and be happy, like, oh my god, look at you, you've lost so much weight, and I'm so proud of you, wow, keep doing what you're doing. I've had a lot of those come up to me. I've had a few more people talk to me that might not have in the past, even just to say that. And I've had a few more looks from people, guys, women, doesn't matter, just people that would kind of give me a second look and that normally wouldn't look at me twice. So I'd have to say yes, a little tiny bit, like nothing major, like, oh my god, you're thin now, I'll talk to you. Like, nothing like that. Just seems that people interact with me a little bit differently than they used to. Even some people that know me or knew me, even at work, even if they don't know me personally, but just like, oh wow, and they'd have a conversation with me that normally wouldn't have that particular conversation. So I would say yes, not horribly, but a little bit.
General public?
General public, that's again, like I said, with people would give me looks that they wouldn't normally give. Not bad looks, but just, take a second glance. Oh, look at that person.
And you used to get comments.
And I used to get comments about what?
Being so fat.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes I used to get comments of when I was at my highest weight, people would be looking at me like, oh my god, look at the size of that person, or comments in general, like, oh my god, you're fat.
And those stopped.
And all of that has stopped. I mean, obviously, I'm not nearly the size that I used to be. I'm almost half of my highest body weight right now. So, I mean, obviously no one's going to be like, oh my god, look how fat you are. And I don't know, people like that are just ignorant as hell.
How does that make you feel?
Well, that makes me feel a lot better. I mean, obviously, who would want to be insulted by anybody, especially because the way they look? It's ridiculous. I look and I feel great now, and I felt at my highest weight that I looked and I felt great. Thankfully, my ego hasn't been completely inflamed, but it's just as high as it was when I was really, really fat. And but that's just me. Unfortunately, there are people who have severe issues or anxiety, and when people look at them and say negative things about them, it really upsets them or hurts them, and that's just fucking horrible. But those things for me have gone away, at least on the negative side. There are some people who still give my stomach that second look because I still have all the skin hanging there, and they see this person who's a little thinner up top and all of a sudden this big hanging patch of skin, which makes me a little uncomfortable, but not nearly as much as people staring at me because I was so fucking huge I needed to take up 2 seats on the bus. You're like, do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Was that the only last question?
Yes.
All right, guys. So that's my little bit of information. I've got my information from theobesitycoverage.com. Anybody can have a look at that website to check out these things and many, many more really cool things about the surgery. All the statistics are there. All the descriptions of everything is there. If you're not sure what, let's say, GERD is, or how gallstones, any of that stuff, it's all there explaining everything. Beautiful, beautiful website, and hopefully that none of my
It's very important to do your research.
yes, it is very important to do your research. Yes, before you get the surgery done, and this is a good place to have a look at everything that that I've talked about and anything that you need to know negatively and positively about the surgery. So the thing that most of you guys are here for is my weigh-in. I did this weigh-in this morning, and I've finally gotten past whatever stall that I was in, and I'm slowly dropping again. I was 300 pounds this morning when I woke up. Right at 300. I'm right at that mark, and I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be under 3, and it'll be the first time that I've broken 300 pounds probably since I was 14 years old. Maybe a little younger than that, because I know at 16 I was 315. I don't remember weighing myself before that, but I'm going to assume within a year or two I was at least heavier than that. So this is, yeah, just just absolutely crazy and amazing. Alright guys, I'm glad that I could do this video for you today. I'm sorry it's late on Saturday, but I didn't get home till really late last night because we went for that long walk that I mentioned, and we didn't even get home till 10 o'clock, and that was after working a 12-hour day, and I didn't even stay on playing games for more than an hour, and I had to just go to bed because it was a really long day. But guys, thank you so much again for watching. I know there's only a few of you, but I appreciate every single one of you that take the time. If you have any questions at all, nothing is out of, nothing's taboo. Nothing at all. I don't give a damn what you ask me. I will answer it, unless, it's things that have nothing to do with this kind of thing. But, maybe I'll answer anyway, depending on the question. So, we will be back next week. I may do a little bit more into some of these things. I'm not sure yet. I usually don't pick a topic until the day of when I'm reminded, oh, wait, you got to do your video.
But if there's a topic that you want.
Yes, if there's any particular topic that you would like to hear about, something that you're interested in or curious about, then by all means, kill your dog too, because that's a good idea when you're making a video, to strangle the goddamn dog so it doesn't make any noise. Alright guys, we will be back next week. See you later.